Alright folks, welcome to this exciting video where you once again join us in the wild landscape of Scotland. And for today's adventure we're joined by a special guest. The channel DJ returns once again, folks. And for today's adventure we're away to document what looks like a little abandoned cottage on the far hill. It's probably 1.5 to 2 miles across there, and we literally just noticed it last week. So we're on the kind of mad wee adventure here. This is actually the lands of Backwater Dam, and the waters of Backwater Dam down here, I should say. So it's so interesting to go down and document these pieces of land and the history within them that we've never seen on the channel before. Look at this, folks. This is an absolute paradise scene that greets us down at the water's edge. And look at these trees clinging on to their existence on the water's edge. We were just looking to see if there was actually a path or a way around. There might actually be. If we just watch this tree doesn't roll down on top of us, we should be alright. And I wouldn't trust even this tree, look at that. All that stuff's just ready to fall. But you know what these missions are all about, folks? We try and go to the coolest places, and we really need to get to the far side of here, but if we can get up onto that grassy hill, it'll be a doddle. Look at this, folks. We're using the wellies to their full advantage in this scenario. We've navigated round through the water here to avoid the worst of these trees. And it just adds to the adventure of and having to go through lands like that. We could potentially just go right along here, I think. As long as we can get to that sandbank, it'll be a simpler walk. This is sandy under the surface here. Check this out, folks. This is one of the small corners here of the Backwater Dam that you hardly see near the mainstream kind of car park area. And it's kind of like this fork in the dam, and I can actually see there's a heron. Here, it just landed in the tree. I didn't even know herons could land in trees, like. But the interesting thing, we've seen a duck and a heron since we've come down here. Wow, look at this area, folks. We're in a postcard scene of Scotland. The different... Oh, look, the swans! Look at this, folks, a wee camping spot. Yeah, this is just an absolute nature habitat nowadays. And there's 3 swans just kicking around. I think there's one growing up in and 2 younger, kind of grey coloured ones. Check this out, folks. The mission continues. We're now making our way around the top of where the loch is. And we've come upon this piece of land here where there's like a little burn that we're trying to navigate. Look how deep this gorge is here. Let's do it. We did it! We did it! That's what you have to do, folks. Not even think twice often. The second time you try and think or dither is when you won't be able to go. That's how I just fully went for it. Full send, as we used to say, folks, on the channel. Yeah, this is just some paradise lands. Check this out, folks. This is the next phase of the adventure, and we've come around that kind of dog's leg shaped bit at the end of Backwater Dam. We're now kind of heading up the forest, and I can see, look, this big pile of stones or something up ahead. Maybe like an old dike. Here, look at the old dike leading down here. See the interesting thing around here, folks? The Backwater Dam was actually built in 1969, so like this history which was actually lost underneath the water, and there could be historical wonders related to that around here. I don't know what that is there. It's like an old balloon, I think. Yeah, this is crazy. There's an old wall line, maybe of an old field long before this forest got planted. Look at this, the old dike line, folks. Maybe even an old farm track leading down to where the water is nowadays. And we are just kind of going this general direction here, pushing through, and I can once again see the waters there of Backwater Dam. And today we're blessed with the sunshine for this adventure. It's just perfect conditions, and the landscape's so wild. Look at this here, mushroom here growing in the wild land, folks. Look at this, folks. We're now crossing one of the rivers which flows into the Backwater Dam. and we've found a bit here which is crossable luckily, and this is the top of the Backwater Dam here. We've come through the edge of this forest and we can now see the ancient historical wonder on the hill behind us. Whoa, it's crazy trying to keep your balance often in these situations here. And literally you're crossing the river. We were lucky to find that little bit because it's super deep, just 100 metres further up. Now we need to kind of navigate the land and hope we don't have to cross any more burns. Look at this folks, this comes out onto the wild hill here. The craziest of Scottish landscape once again on the channel. Look at this scene we're now greeted with folks. We're kind of on this hill and we can see the property we're trying to get to at the far side. It looks like there's some interesting old stones or whatever at this area, but we're being super respectful. Obviously the farmers got sheep and stuff and it's pretty much lambing season out on the farms, so we're just basically heading this diagonal route over, and we're going to do a bit of a circuit along here and then back along the top, and we're going to go back down I think the main road out of this area after we've seen this crazy property. But it's the sort of thing, it might not even be abandoned. That's the sort of adventures we go on. We were seeing a house from like 4 miles away and just judging if it's worth an adventure. And sometimes the pieces of landscape you see along the way when you're trying to get to them, it's just crazy little nuggets that are pretty much unseen and forgotten. And even a scene like this with the sun shining over the faraway hills, it's a true Scottish paradise folks. So check this out folks, this is a crazy little abandoned settlement that we've spontaneously found on our way to another adventure. And this is the kind of history that I love to document. We're thinking this is potentially an old lime kiln here. Yeah, often the stone got reused or taken away for newer builds or properties. Yeah, look at this here, this probably was the lime kiln, 'cause look at the circle. Wow. This is the kind of history folks will love to find. And look, there's old pieces of cast iron like old fires out of houses. And loads of old farm scrap. And that's often what these kilns were used for the longest time. Look at this folks. I'm thinking there's so much history here to be seen. We'll save that other house for the next adventure. So it's cool to document everything that we find in these glens folks. And look at this, there's been some serious stonework here and different buildings the whole way around. And I just absolutely love to see it. Look how thick the walls have been. And look, even that there has been a little building. Yeah, it could have been. It's most likely been a farm Croft in the early days. Look at that as well. Again, the cool thing, it's got that little gate and stuff down at the bottom of the hill. Wow, look at all these buildings here. It's gotten so windy because this rainstorm looks like it could potentially be passing by us. Check it out folks, look at this wall. Just think about the wee farming community that probably first cleared this land and drained it so it was actually able to be used for agriculture. And just check out that, the way that these stones and stuff are shaped. Wow, it's mad to keep finding stuff like this. I believe, is this no like the old garden gate down here?
I think so.
Is it maybe just a coincidence these stones have been laid like this? Look at the size of this piece of quartz right here folks. That's in the ground all over here in the Glen Isla area. Wow, look at that. It's amazing to see that, the white flinty quartz that you get in the land. And look at the size of these stones, probably taken off the field or dragged to this location. What an amazing amount of walls and little buildings though. And then look at this one, it's actually built, looks different eh? One of these must have been like a little farmhouse potentially here. Check this out, has this been the farmhouse folks? Look at this, and maybe the stable for the horse at the side of it. This would have been the back wall here of the house I believe. Look how thick the walls are. Yeah, look, this could have been the house. Nowadays, obviously, the land of the sheep, roaming and eating the wild grass here in the lands. I can hear a serious amount of dogs barking in the distance. Yeah, look at this here. This is an interesting bit of wall. It's almost built like super strong for some reason. Check it out, folks, look at the way this is built. But yeah, look, it's got that secondary wall right there. So for some reason, look, they've had that double wall with the cavity between. It's almost strange the way this one is. Not unless they had a well or a source of water in a certain area. It's just strange how it's got that. The way the wall's made here, there's two separate walls with like fill of stones between. Wow. What a cool place. This is spontaneous, like all our adventures, folks. We go full send into the wilderness and we end up finding history like this, forgotten probably from like the time of the Highland clearances, or around that time a place like this was probably razed to the ground, and then the land was taken over from new landowners and stuff. But these fields are still of agriculture like they were originally set up. Look at this detail. This is the outside of this building, and look at the clear gap, folks. You can see the difference in the stonework, showing that this may have been an original building, or for some reason they wanted to keep it totally separate. It may have even been from noise, so they didn't want noise coming in from the farm. And you can see the original track here coming down into the farm yard with the old stone dyke at the side of it, and then the secondary track leading on up the hill past the old lime kiln, which was one of my favourite details to find here. And that track leads on maybe to some of the crofts that are now under the water of the Backwater Dam, which is interesting to theorise and think about. The more years that pass, places like this, the history just slowly goes missing before you know it. Like, it's just no more than a pile of stones or rubble. But this has been a fair old farm on the hill. When you see the size of it, maybe even in the 1700s they were still working at this farm, judging from like the lime kiln and stuff. And for the next video we're going to head over to this other crazy little abandoned cottage that we were going to try and get to, but when I found this history, I don't want to make the videos too long, folks, and I want to document the history properly without trying to hurry through it. And that's why it's often cool doing like a separate video for each of these wee places that I find. And today it was cool to see that area of Backwater Dam that we don't normally see. Anyway, if you want to find out if this rainstorm's a way to come on or not, folks, you can tune into the next adventure, because I'm about to end this one here. Thanks very much for watching. Goodbye for me, goodbye for the channel DJ, and we'll catch you very soon with the next one.